Hey everyone, Adam here from Burpee Nation, and I'm going to talk to you today about WOD Done single-use hand protection grips for CrossFit, OCR, grip training, whatever you think you can use them for. I'm going to kind of go over the things I've tried them with, how they've felt, how they held up with sweat, water, those kind of things. These grips are basically meant to protect your hands. They're not going to prevent calluses, which is probably a good thing, but they will help prevent them from ripping. And if you have a rip, it's going to protect that from really getting irritated and kind of keeping you moving. So let's dive right into WOD Done single-use hand protection grips. All right, first things first, here's what I'm looking at. It was the WOD Done, the whole hand grips, and then the thumb strips. So we're going to look at the thumb strips first, kind of how to put them on. Very easy. You just kind of carefully rip the paper off. It's not going to rip the tape. You rip it there just to get that first little bit off, and it comes with instructions, very easy to follow. What you want to do is, rip that off, put it on the part of your thumb that you want to. Doesn't matter what side, but basically you just stretch it as you wrap it around, just to make sure it keeps that tightness. You want to be careful not to do it too tight. You don't want to cut off your circulation, but you definitely don't want it too loose either. I would say, no matter what, kind of worked out fine. It may take a couple tries to get on perfectly. So basically I just tested these out doing some Olympic lifts around the gym, some deadlifts, snatches, cleans, that kind of thing. And really they're just super comfortable. They do allow for the different grips, whichever one you use. Depending on the bar, especially, really helps with not rubbing or getting blisters or anything like that. I would say these thumb grips are very good for when you're doing this kind of lift. No issues with them coming off at all through my workouts, sweating, all that kind of thing. The second thing we'll look at is the WOD Dones. This is essentially the whole hand cover. I use this for Spartan races, grip training, things like that, where I'm really gonna end up ripping if I'm not too careful, especially when you're doing grip workouts. Spartan races and during races and stuff, depending on how long they are. You may not run into too many issues with ripping, but some of the longer races or more obstacle-heavy races like Savage Race or OCR Championships, things like that, these would be great for. It does come with a spray that you can use to give it some better stickiness for when it's going to get wet and muddy, but I would say you definitely would need to use that if you're going to be using them in race conditions. If you're using them for just a really high intensity grip workout or anything, if you're doing CrossFit and you're doing a lot of pull-ups, leg raises, toes to bar, things like that, these will be great. So again, very easy to put on, similar to the other for the thumb grips. You just want to make sure you're pulling and stretching as you're sticking it on. That's really going to keep it on better. Again, these are single use, so just make sure you follow the instructions that they come with. It is very easy to follow, but it might take a couple times to get it perfect. There were a couple times during workouts where maybe I didn't quite pull as tight as I should have, and later in the workout, the grip part kind of sagged down a little bit, but that was much later in the workout. Again, very easy to put on. Pretty much all you do is just get those 3 fingers through the holes, strap it on to the back of your palm or the back of your hand, and then pull and stretch down the palm. Again, these instructions, kind of tells you exactly where to tear, what to tear, and the order to do everything in. For the workout itself, these held up really well. I did a combination of pull-ups, different grip training. I pretty much threw everything at it that I could the few times that I used it, just to see how they held up with grip. I don't have a rig or anything to practice it on. This is again without the extra adhesive. Again, if it's going to be getting really wet or muddy or anything like that, I would recommend the adhesive. But basically just did multiple sets of these sort of grip exercises, pull-ups, one arm hangs, 90-degree holds with shoulder taps, back and forth on the rig. And I probably did this for half hour to an hour, and they held up really well. As far as taking them off, they do come off very easily. The one thing I will say, there is a little bit of residue sometimes that can be left on there. Not a huge deal. You can kind of get them off with a lot of hot water and soap or in the shower, things like that. But as you can see, they held up really well through the workout. If you're wearing any kind of watch or anything like that, you'll have to kind of take that off to put them on and off. But they come off super easily after the workout. Didn't pull any hair off or anything like that. You just might take a little extra to get those hands clean, but overall, really kept my hands safe and had no issues with calluses or tears during my workout. So there you go. One thing I didn't mention that you kind of want to make sure you do, especially with the hand grips, is after you apply them, just rub them to kind of heat them up, activate that adhesive. That is one thing they recommend. Again, all probably on the instructions. Go to wodandone.com to get your own. They do have a couple other products that I didn't talk about. Definitely worth checking out for OCR, grip training, gymnastics, CrossFit, anything where you're worried about your hands tearing or getting some blisters on your thumbs or fingers. Thank you for checking this video out. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you go to our page to look at our other videos. We have obstacle race videos. We have other reviews. We have some interviews, whether it's somebody from CrossFit or OCR or just running in general or fitness. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to check out all our videos. Also, don't miss out on our podcast. Just look for Burpee Nation wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for watching.